Number 10. The romance reports. The Sun reported that they have been together for less than 2 months, but they're already madly in love. An inside source spoke about their romance and said, "It's super early days, but it feels right. They first dated very briefly almost 10 years ago, but timings just didn't work out." The report claimed that Taylor and Joe Alwyn actually split up back in February, which means that there was absolutely no crossover between the two relationships. Taylor and Matty were reportedly planning to go public when they performed together at her concert in Nashville. Apparently they're both massively proud and excited about this relationship, and unlike Taylor's last one, which was very much kept out of the spotlight, she wants to own this romance and not hide it away. The source went on to say, "Both Matty and Taylor have been touring over the past few weeks, so it's been a lot of FaceTiming and texting, but she cannot wait to see him again. But as two international megastars, they understand the pressures of one another's jobs better than anyone, and are incredibly supportive of their respective careers." It's also been said that they were set up by Taylor's longtime collaborator Jack Antonoff, although no one really knows that for sure. Number 9. Secret messages. The pair fueled romance rumors even further when they seemingly repeated the same phrase during recent respective performances. Apparently, at one point in her Nashville concert, while she was singing the song Cardigan, Taylor looked dead at the camera and mouthed the words, "This is about you, you know who you are, I love you." This moment was allegedly connected to something that Matty did during his concert in the Philippines on May 3rd, where he appeared to say the exact same thing. These two clips were then posted on TikTok, and some people are certain that they are actually sending secret messages to each other. And it makes a little more sense when you think about how private Taylor is with her love life. According to The Sun, apparently yes, they were planning to go public during that concert in Nashville, but even though that never happened, the phrase might have been a way for them to connect with each other while they were performing. Taylor is also known for putting a lot of Easter eggs in her music, like the song Champagne Showers she sang when news of her breakup had just come out. Some fans think that the lyrics hinted the reason that she and Joe Alwyn broke up. Number 8. The Nashville concert. Over the weekend, Matty was enjoying Taylor's concert in Nashville alongside her friends Gigi Hadid and Lily Aldridge. They all seemed to be very comfortable with each other, dancing and hugging while listening to music. Matty was caught on video intensely focusing on her performance, as though he was under some kind of spell. At one point, he looked really moved by the music and even held his hand over his chest. But he wasn't just there to watch. He also performed with opening act Phoebe Bridgers. He was seen playing guitar in the sold-out stadium while wearing a skeleton suit. Yes, he was there to both perform and support Taylor. But some fans have also pointed to the fact that he attended her concert 2 nights in a row, which meant that he was really just happy to be there. Fans also posted several videos on TikTok trying to decipher his body language at the concert. Most of them could agree that he really seemed enchanted just watching Taylor perform. Fans also commented, "Guys, this man loves her. Look, he took a 17-hour flight from the Philippines just to be there. And that man looking like he's about to worship the whole ground that she walks on." So there's already a bit of approval coming in from Swifties, who are starting to ship them all over again. Number 7. Spotted in the car. This one is what some have called real evidence that proves Taylor and Matty are actually dating. At least that's what it looks like in these newly released photos. The two of them were seen sitting together for the first time since the rumors started, next to each other in a car with tinted windows. They were said to have arrived at Taylor's condo around 12:30 a.m. after her concert in Nashville on Saturday evening. The photos are not super clear, but you can make out the fact that it's both Taylor and Matty sitting in the back of the car. He could be seen wearing a bracelet which looked exactly like the same one he wore that evening while watching her performance. Since the pictures were posted on Twitter, they have generated some pretty heavy debate. Some fans are certain that the two of them were in the car, and others not so much. People wrote things like, "I don't even know what I'm looking at," and "Is this Matty in the room with us?" There were also those who felt like this doesn't actually prove anything. After all, so what if they were in the car together? I mean, they could technically still be friends or just be trying to joke about the rumors. So do you think it's really him in the car, and if so, does that mean that they're dating? Number 6. Matty stopped kissing fans. Back in January, Taylor performed at the 1975's concert in London. Matty then announced to the audience that he would not be kissing fans out of respect for her. He said, "I'm not kissing anyone in front of Taylor Swift. Have some respect. In front of the Queen, it's not happening." We don't know her exact reaction to this, but she probably found this announcement funny and sweet. Now, this is a pretty big deal since it's kind of become tradition for Matty to take random fans out of the crowd just to make out with them. And it's probably a good thing that he stopped, at least temporarily, because it's caused a lot of chaos. Last year, during his concert in Vegas, he brought up a fan on stage and made out with her. The woman, who goes by the name Isabella Alfie, then spoke to Narcity about the whole experience. She said that the kiss was great despite the fact that he smelled like cigarettes. But the craziest part about the story was that Isabella admitted that she was married, so she had to call her husband and explain the situation later. Video footage from that kiss went viral on Twitter, and of course it left fans divided. Although some people were jealous, others felt like Matty was taking things a step too far. Number 5, their past flirtation. Back in 2014, Matty was rumored to be dating Taylor after he was seen performing at one of her concerts. After that, he was photographed wearing a 1989 t-shirt, and then Taylor was later seen wearing the 1975 one. After meeting her, Matty spoke about the experience on an Australian radio show called Shazam Top 20. He said, "I met Taylor Swift, that was really nice. We exchanged numbers. Let's see what happens." In response to further suggestions about their relationship, he said, "I mean, what am I gonna do? Go out with Taylor Swift? She's a sensation. I wouldn't say no." The following month, she was spotted at another one of the 1975's concert in New York City. And that's when the rumor mill just went crazy. Although their relationship was described as just a flirtation, they've clearly managed to stay close over the years. And many would say that a strong friendship is the foundation of a great relationship. Also, we already know that Taylor has met Matty's mom, and she recently posted a cute photo on Instagram of the two of them hugging after a concert. Number 4, honest comments. Unlike Joe Alwyn, Matty has never shied away from discussing his relationship with Taylor, even the aspects of it that he wasn't too happy with. 2 years after meeting her, he responded to the rumors that they had a relationship in a very controversial interview with Q magazine. He described what happened between them as just a flirtation and said that he was surprised that it made the headlines. Quote, "It's not really anything to talk about, because if she wasn't Taylor Swift, we wouldn't be talking about her. She wasn't a big impact on my life. It's just interesting to me how interested the world is about Taylor Swift." He then explains that if he had gone out with her, then he would have been labeled as just Taylor Swift's boyfriend. And Matty made it very clear that he absolutely hated that idea. He said it would have been very emasculating to be in a relationship with her, given her level of success. At the time, his comments received a lot of backlash for being misogynistic. He later backpedaled with a post on Twitter, insisting that she was one of the most gracious, hardworking, creatively gifted, and beautiful women that he has ever met. Thankfully, his comments didn't seem to affect their relationship too much. Number 3, starting fresh. Another reason there seems to be a romance blossoming between them is because of how familiar they are with each other. According to an inside source at Us Weekly, the two of them run in the same circles of friends, and they're having a good time reconnecting. Right now, they're looking to give things a second chance. So if they really are dating, it's likely that they're more or less comfortable enough to take things slow. And because of their shared history, there's probably going to be some kind of mutual understanding there, especially when it comes to the way that fame can impact a relationship. Both Matty and Taylor have been in the spotlight now for almost 15 years. That means they've had to learn how to navigate romance while living in the public eye. The source went on to say that she really likes him and is just happy spending time with him. Quote, "They have been hanging out and are having fun together. They both respect and admire each other's talent. They have a lot of mutual friends, including Jack Antonoff." And that's the other thing, Taylor and Matty share the same producer, so it's no wonder that they got reintroduced to each other after all these years. Number 2, music collaboration. We can see just how close Taylor and Matty have been over the years when we look at some of their music projects that they did together. In November of 2022, Matty confirmed that a collaboration between them does exist, but it's not going to be released anytime soon. So he and his bandmates did actually work with her on the new album Midnights, but whatever they created just didn't make the cut. He said, "We actually worked a bit on that, but then the version of it never came out. It was for reasons that are not to be criticized. She's amazing." Matty has always been a fan of Taylor's work. While on the Green Room podcast in 2019, he said that he'd be down to produce an acoustic record for her if she wanted. He said, "Taylor Swift doing an acoustic record? I can't think of a record that would sell more than that. Like Taylor Swift's intimate return to country. Of course you'd want to produce that. She's probably gonna sit on that idea. But Taylor, if you ever want someone to help you set up the mics for your acoustic record, just so you know, I'm there." And coming in at number 1, they're both single. Of course, no one but Taylor knows the exact timeline of her breakup from Joe. Of course, no one but Taylor knows the exact timeline of her breakup from Joe Alwyn. But we do know that they had already gone their separate ways by the time that Matty came into the picture. At the time, a source close to the situation spoke to People magazine and insisted that the reason for their breakup ultimately came down to differences in their personalities. Quote, "They've had rough patches before and always worked things out, so friends thought that they would take some time apart and eventually come back together. But apparently they just weren't the right fit. And a lot of that comes down to the fact that Joe didn't like the limelight. He was said to have struggled with Taylor's level of fame and the attention that she got from the public. Eventually the differences in their personalities became harder to ignore, and they just grew apart. As for Matty, he does have a history of long-term relationships ever since his romance with Taylor. He's dated Australian model Gabriella Brooks for 4 years in 2015, before getting into a 3-year relationship with FKA Twigs, which ended in June last year. He was also linked to model Charlotte Bryard D'Alessio back in December, but that seemed to be more of a fling than anything else. So technically, if Taylor and Matty were to start things up again, the timing would be perfect. Number 10, the Karlie Kloss rumors. Taylor and Karlie have had a rumored romantic relationship for ages, almost as long as fans have been speculating about Taylor's sexuality. They became friends back in 2013 when they met backstage at the Victoria's Secret fashion show. They were named Clayla back in 2014 because they were constantly being photographed together and seemed to be inseparable. But when Taylor didn't attend Karlie's wedding in 2018 and Karlie didn't go to her birthday party either, people suspected that something was up. They stopped being photographed together after that year, which made it seem like they had a falling out. More recently though, with Folklore coming out, fans began digging into the true meaning behind her songs. The tracks Illicit Affairs, Seven, and Betty were believed to be a message to fans that maybe had some hidden feelings. Fans took to Twitter at the time, with one user writing, "Taylor Swift and Karlie Kloss have been dating for 7 years. You can't convince me otherwise." And this is just more proof. Swifties lost their minds even more after Karlie posted a nearly identical photo to Taylor's album cover, writing, "My happy place." There are even entire websites dedicated to these theories about the two stars. So what do you guys think? Could there have been something more to this relationship? Number 9, the Lavender Theory. We know that Lavender Haze is the title of the first track on Midnights, and since lavender is frequently used as a symbol of the queer community, and it doesn't help that for years there's been speculation that Taylor is either gay or bisexual and has had secret relationships with women. Not only that, but some people were convinced that at least 2 and possibly more songs on the album are about Karlie Kloss. In the song Maroon, she sings, "How did we end up on the floor anyway, you say? Your roommate's cheap screw tops rosé." Taylor and Karlie were reportedly roommates at one point. There was also speculation that the song Question could be about her as well, as one fan theorized that it definitely feels pretty straightforward that she's singing about kissing a girl. Then in 2014, TMZ reported that Taylor and Karlie may or may not have kissed at a concert, although that was never fully confirmed. When speaking about the inspiration behind the song, she said, "When you're in the lavender haze, you'll do anything to stay there and not let people bring you down off of that cloud. I think that a lot of people have to deal with this now, not just like public figures, because we live in the era of social media, and if the world finds out you're in love with somebody, they're going to weigh in on it." Number 8, friendship with Diana Agron. These two met in the early 2010s while Diana was starring in Glee. They became fast friends and spent a large amount of time together. Diana was mentioned in Taylor's music, and she even threw her the occasional party. Eventually, the rumors about the nature of their relationship started circulating everywhere. Although this was just a fan-led theory, a lot of other people started to notice how close they were getting. At one point, Jimmy Kimmel even addressed the rumors, but they always insisted that they were just friends. This went on for a couple of years until they stopped spending so much time together, either because they just grew apart or because there was some kind of rift. Then when Taylor released the song Wonderland, their connection was a little harder to deny. The track features a ton of references to Alice in Wonderland, and Taylor uses the line "falling down the rabbit hole" as a metaphor for falling in love. At another point in the song, she sings, "Haven't you heard what becomes of curious minds? And too in love to think straight, we both went mad." What's really interesting is that Diana has a Wonderland quote tattooed on her ribcage, which has since been removed. So fans really held onto that as proof of their relationship. Number 7, Welcome to New York. This is the opening track of 1989, and it marked Taylor's official pivot to pop music. She said the album was largely inspired by the celebration of being unique in New York City, and she talked about the freedom she felt after moving there. In the second verse, she sings, "Everyone here was someone else before, and you can want who you want, boys and boys and girls and girls." When asked specifically about why she wrote that line, Taylor said, "I wrote the song kind of following when gay marriage became legal in New York. So many of my friends had to be kind of scrutinized for who they were in love with from the time they came out." She went on to say that she didn't want to make a big deal about it because she doesn't think it should be a big deal with who you love. Fans have since theorized that she might have been referring to herself when she spoke about the freedom to be queer. So some of them think that she was speaking from personal experience. The state of New York legalized same-sex marriage in June of 2011, and she moved to the city 3 years later in March of 2014. She then went on to release 1989 in October of that year. Number 6, LGBTQ support. Back in 2019, Taylor graced the cover of Vogue's September issue, and she was interviewed by a writer named Abby Aguirre, who was also on the set of her music video for You Need to Calm Down. down. They met at Taylor's compound in New York and discussed her political consciousness, particularly on LGBTQ issues. The singer talked about the light bulb moment that led her to be outspoken in her support of the queer community, and she explained that it happened while she was going for a drive. Apparently she was in the car with her friend Hodrick Hall, who then asked her what she would do if her son was gay. She said this question took her aback because the fact that he even had to ask her was very shocking, and it made her realize that she had not made her position clear enough or loud enough. In the past, she has been criticized for not speaking up on political issues, particularly during the 2016 presidential election. That's part of the reason why she decided to shift to advocacy. In that same Vogue interview, she said, "Rights are being stripped from basically everyone who isn't a straight white cisgender male. I didn't realize until recently that I could advocate for a community that I'm not a part of." Number 5, You Need to Calm Down. The release of the 2018 song was a massive deal because it was the first time she fully and unmistakably showed her support for the community through music. The music video is filled with celebrity cameos from queer icons like Laverne Cox, RuPaul, and Hayley Kiyoko. They were having a blast in a rainbow dream-like trailer park. The song takes an equality first stance and criticizes homophobia. In the video, there are several anti-LGBTQ protesters carrying signs saying things like "being queer is a sin." At the beginning, Taylor is seen at home in a trailer which is decorated in bubblegum pink. There's a quick cut to a Cher quote from a 1996 interview, which is all about rejecting certain social norms and viewing men as a luxury and not a necessity. In the interview, Cher reflected on her mother's desire for her to settle down and marry a rich man. In response, she said, "Mom, I am a rich man." So in the song, Taylor is also referencing a prominent LGBTQ advocacy group when she says, "Why are you mad when you could be glad?" Number 4, Queer imagery. The music video for You Need to Calm Down also shows us a queer wedding between Jesse Tyler Ferguson and his real-life husband Justin Makita. The two of them got the chance to reenact their wedding kiss in the video, which gets officiated by Sierra. In another clip from the video, Ellen DeGeneres can be seen inside one of the trailers getting a tattoo on her arm from Adam Lambert. Then we see Tan France from Queer Eye walking past a group of homophobic protesters while he's drinking tea straight from the pot. Later on, Taylor is seen sitting down to a literal tea party with the rest of the Queer Eye gang as she sings, "You just need to take several seats." The video also features a lineup of former Drag Race contestants and a famous Beyonce impersonator all participating in a pop queen pageant. All of the queens are dressed up as different celebrities like Ariana Grande, Lady Gaga, Adele, Cardi B, Taylor, and Katy Perry. RuPaul then appears on stage, and instead of giving the pageant crown to just one of the contestants, he tosses it up in the air. So it implies that all of the pop queens are meant to share the crown. Number 3, Friendship with Katy Perry. Although there has been a lot less speculation around the nature of this relationship, fans have constantly been hearing about these two together for years. What started out as a close friendship eventually turned into a legendary feud somewhere around 2013. That same year, rumors circulated that Katy Perry was trying to sabotage Taylor's tour by stealing some of her backup dancers. In September, Taylor gave an explosive interview calling her out. She said, "For years, I was never sure if we were friends or not. She would come up to me at award shows and say something and walk away, and I would think, are we friends, or did she just give me the harshest insult of my life?" She went on to say, "It wasn't even about a guy, it had to do with business. She basically tried to sabotage an entire arena tour, so now I have to avoid her. It's awkward and I don't like it." Then when Taylor released her song Bad Blood, the drama just kept escalating, but thankfully they were able to bury the hatchet somewhere around 2017 or 2018, and they've been on good terms ever since. In fact, Katy Perry made an appearance in the music video for You Need to Calm Down, and the rest was history. Number 2, Dress. During every show on the Reputation tour, Taylor dedicated the song Dress to Louis Fuller, who was a pioneer of modern dance and an openly queer woman in the early 1900s. According to Vogue, she lived with her girlfriend from 1905 until her death. But what's really interesting about Dress is that it's one of Taylor's most explicit songs. It's really about intimacy, so it's interesting that she represented that concept with a dress, which is a widely recognized symbol of femininity. In one of the lines, she sings, "Only bought this dress so you could take it off." And then in another line, she says, "I don't want you like a best friend," which is representative of a friends to lovers arc. It's this part of the song that has fans believing she was making a reference to her friendship with Karlie Kloss. At another point in the track, she says, "Everyone thinks that they know us, but they know nothing about us," which didn't really seem to match the tone of her relationship with Joe Alwyn. At the time that the album was released, the public hardly knew any information about their dynamic, so it's more likely that the track describes her experience with a female friend. And coming in at number 1, Question. This song contains several references to the 1989 era. In the chorus, Taylor asks several questions, like did you ever have someone kiss you in a crowded room? And every single one of your friends was making fun of you. But 15 seconds later, they were clapping too. This line kind of sounds like it was coming from personal experience, like a time she was kissed in a crowded room and then mocked for it. In this interpretation of the song, her consistent use of feminine pronouns is also really interesting. If Taylor was going to be publicly involved with a woman, the stakes for acceptance would be much higher, which is possibly why she's tried putting it in the song like that. In the second verse, she explicitly criticizes politics and gender roles for corrupting relationships. She also blames uncertainty for getting in the way of an out and proud relationship. Of course, the title and central theme of Question might also be connected to the Q in LGBTQ, which stands for both queer and questioning. This is a term used to describe people who are in the process of discovery and exploration about their sexual orientation, or their gender identity or expression. So she might be hinting that that's where she fits into the community, in the Q. Okay, so this is really the week of Taylor Swift dating rumors. First we had Fernando Alonso, then it was Matty Healy, and now there is also Diana Agron. Well, sort of. The former Glee actress has finally cleared the air about her relationship with Taylor. In an interview with Rolling Stone, she was asked about being included in the liner notes for the song 22, which led fans to believe that they were involved romantically at the time. Diana was asked if she was the inspiration behind the song, and in response she said, "If only." And as for why she was in the footnotes, she said, "That's more because of a friendship than being the inspiration for the song, but I would not be the person to ask about that. I cannot claim that." When she was directly asked about how she felt being in a rumored relationship with Taylor, she said, "That is so interesting. I mean, there have been many stories about my dating life that are so wildly untrue. That's funny." So there you have it. That hopefully puts an end to the long-running theory that these two were ever a thing. And it's probably just wishful thinking at this point. Back in the early 2010s, Taylor met Diana when she was starring in Glee. They became fast friends and spent a fair amount of time together. This is something fans were quick to take notice of, because to some people, it seemed like they were even closer than friends. To be fair, Diana was mentioned in Taylor's music quite a few times. When she released the song Wonderland in 2014, their connection was a little harder to deny. The track features a ton of references to Alice in Wonderland, and the line "falling down the rabbit hole" is used as a metaphor for falling in love. And what's really interesting is that Diana had a Wonderland quote tattooed on her ribcage, which has since been removed. So people really held on to that as proof of their relationship. At a certain point, it seemed like there was some truth to it, because even Jimmy Kimmel decided to directly ask Diana about it. Of course, both women always insisted that they were just friends. And this went on for a couple of years until they stopped spending so much time together, most likely just because they grew apart and life was taking them in different directions. But these rumors were a part of a bigger fan theory surrounding Taylor's sexuality. Over the years, many of her female friendships have come under the microscope. The most well-known one was with Karlie Kloss. The two of them became friends back in 2013 when they met backstage at the Victoria's Secret fashion show. They were named Clayla back in the day because they were constantly being photographed together and seemed to be inseparable. But when Taylor didn't attend Karlie's wedding in 2018 and Karlie didn't go to her birthday party, people suspected that something was up. They stopped being photographed together after that year, which made it seem like they had a falling out. More recently though, since Folklore came out, fans began digging into the true meaning behind her songs. The three tracks that stood out the most were Illicit Affairs, Seven, and Betty, which were all believed to convey a secret message that Taylor might have some hidden feelings. Now, some people really enjoy finding these little Easter eggs, but until Taylor actually addresses this rumor herself, there's not much point in speculating.
Now that Taylor Swift has dropped her most personal album yet with Folklore, Swifties are now digging deep into the lyrics for clues about Taylor's very secret personal life. And they might have found one about her dating life, with lots of clues pointing to the fact that her and Karlie Kloss might have dated in the past. Hey, what's up Iors, it's Mackenzie here, and today on the channel I'm going to be filling you in on the deeper meaning that some Taylor Swift fans have found from her song Betty. So if you're not a hardcore Swiftie, then you might think this theory is coming out of left field, but it's actually not, and there's been rumors of Taylor and Karlie dating for quite some time, with everything really heating up when some paparazzi photos were leaked that looked to show the two of them kissing many years back. But now the theory is heating up again after Taylor told her fans that this new album is a culmination of personal experiences and her vivid imagination because of the isolation she's experienced during this pandemic. And since Taylor is such a talented storyteller, fans are starting to draw meaning from many of her songs, especially after Taylor revealed that 3 of the songs on Folklore are connected, all about a teenage love triangle, with each song revealing one side of the story, with fans identifying the 3 people as as Betty, who is James's girlfriend, James, and a girl which she cheated with. Fans identify the songs as Cardigan, which is from Betty's perspective, August from the other girl's perspective, and Betty from James's perspective. But after putting all the pieces together, fans are now pretty sure that Betty is actually about Taylor's relationship with Karlie Kloss, and that James is actually Taylor disguised as a man. This came out after it was revealed that Taylor is actually named after singer-songwriter James Taylor, and people are linking Betty to Karlie as her middle name is Elizabeth, and Betty is a common nickname for Elizabeth. With the lyrics in the song speaking of regret and sadness over the relationship ending, saying, quote, "If I showed up at a party, would you have me? Would you want me? Would you tell me to go F myself? Or lead me to the garden? In the garden, would you trust me?" And people are linking that part about the garden to Karlie, as she has a garden in New York where she lives, and her and Taylor Swift frequently hung out there. Then Karlie posted a photo of her in a forest hugging a tree, which looked very similar to Taylor's album cover, right after the cover was released. And of course fans are going wild on Twitter taking guesses as to how this all connects, and freaking out at the possibility that this could all be true. But if you can believe it, this is not the only theory fans have had about the song, with people also linking the song to Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's children, since the names of their first two children, James and Inez, are shouted out in the song, with people saying this could mean their next child is named Betty, which actually did end up being the case. But people also think it could be about Joe Alwyn's mother, since her name is Elizabeth. But like most things in life, we'll probably never know the truth, but it's really fun to speculate, especially since Taylor's lyrics can really be so revealing. Okay everyone, that's all for that story. Let me know what you're thinking below. Are you a fan of Taylor's? And if you're not a fan, have you listened to Folklore? For me, I'm not the biggest Taylor Swift fan, but because hardly any music has come out during this time, I did listen to most of the album, and I do have to say, she's a really beautiful writer. But slower songs usually kinda aren't my vibe. I'm more of a Tame Impala girl, as I'm sure a lot of you have seen before with like the shirts that I wear and stuff.
Now, on the subject of rumors, how do we feel about Taylor Swift dating a Formula 1 driver? That's the rumor that's taken the internet by storm. If you believe the gossip, which we'll be getting into, Taylor is said to be seeing Fernando Alonso, the champion driver for Aston Martin. Like many other rumors, this one started on the popular blind item Instagram account Dumois. The site shared an anonymous email which read, "A couple of Spanish magazines have been posting about Taylor Swift and Spanish F1 driver Fernando Alonso. According to them, the couple has been seeing each other for a week now. Nothing serious though, since they are both recently single." Now, you might be quick to discount this post given that Dumois is more about speculation than facts, but you have to remember that they have accurately predicted new celebrity couples before. In fact, the most recent prediction was Kendall Jenner and Bad Bunny, then Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet, both which turned out to be true. So take these posts with a grain of salt, but don't discount them completely. In fact, this time around, they might be onto something once again, because Alfonso actually hinted that there might be some truth to it. He posted a video of himself on TikTok where he was seen listening to a sped up version of Taylor's song Karma. Alfonso then winked at the camera at the end of the video. So he didn't confirm or deny anything, but he clearly heard about all the speculation that's been going around. The video was viewed almost 3 million times and it has around 500,000 likes. Judging by the comment section, fans think he's definitely trying to tell us something. People wrote things like, "He knows what he's doing," and "We call this a soft launch." There's even been some new thirst traps posted about him to Taylor Swift songs. So it's pretty obvious that people are really getting behind this potential new romance. At 41 years old, Alfonso is nearly a decade older than Joe Alwyn, but this doesn't necessarily mean that he's too old for Taylor. And of course, he's insanely attractive. On the surface, it doesn't seem like the two of them would have very much in common, aside from being super accomplished in their respective fields. Fernando is considered one of the greatest drivers in the history of Formula 1. He's won 2 world championships during his career and is one of the most successful drivers of this generation. His net worth is estimated to be around $260 million, and he makes as much as $40 million per year between earnings and endorsements. Aside from that, both Taylor and Fernando have recently split up with their partners. Earlier this month, Fernando announced that he was calling it quits with his girlfriend, journalist and TV presenter Andrea Schlager. They were both together for a little over a year before breaking up on April the 3rd. Fernando was married once before, and he's since had quite a few long-term relationships, but he doesn't have any children. Although he's very successful at what he does, he has admitted that his dedication to sport left him with no friends, no family, no free time, no privacy, no wife, and no kids. So clearly it did have a bit of an impact on his personal life in some capacity. And we know Taylor recently broke up with her boyfriend of 6 years, Joe Alwyn. At the time, an inside source that spoke to the Daily Mail claimed that Taylor's success played a significant role in their breakup. They said, "It's been hard for Joe trying to make it in Hollywood and not quite becoming leading man material while dating one of the most famous women in the world over the last 6 years. relationships. It was easier during the pandemic when it was just the two of them. But once things returned to normal, Taylor Swift, the superstar, emerged, and their differences were even more apparent. They really made a go of it and tried everything they could, but ultimately were unable to save the relationship. So he was either uncomfortable or frustrated with the fact that she has this amazing career, while his is a lot more low-key. In the 2 weeks since their split, so many people in Taylor's inner circle have now unfollowed her ex. We're talking about Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, Austin Swift, Gigi Hadid, and the Haim sisters. They were all spotted walking around New York City together, which made it seem like something more was going on. Although we have no idea what was actually said, it's nice to see that Taylor's best friends really have her back in this breakup. So what do you think about the fact that Taylor and Matty are rumored to be dating? Yesterday, The Sun reported that they had been together for less than 2 months, but were already madly in love. An inside source spoke about their romance and said, "It's super early days, but it feels right. They first dated very briefly almost 10 years ago, but timings just didn't work out." The report also claimed that Joe and Taylor actually split up back in February, which means that there was absolutely no crossover between the two relationships. Taylor and Matty are reportedly planning to go public this weekend when they perform together at her concert in Nashville. Apparently they're both massively proud and excited about this relationship, and unlike Taylor's last one, which was pretty much kept out of the spotlight, she wants to own this romance and not hide it away. The source went on to say, "Both Matty and Taylor have been touring over the past few weeks, so it's been a lot of FaceTiming and texting, but she cannot wait to see him again. But as two international megastars, they understand the pressures of one another's jobs better than anyone, and are incredibly supportive of their respective careers." It's also been said that they were set up by Taylor's longtime collaborator Jack Antonoff, although no one really knows that for sure. But if these rumors do turn out to be true, we can't say that we didn't see it coming. Back in January, Taylor performed at the 1975's concert in London. Matty then announced to the whole audience that he would not be kissing fans out of respect for Taylor. He said, "I'm not kissing anyone in front of Taylor Swift, have some respect. In front of the Queen, it's not happening." This is a pretty big deal since it's kind of become a tradition for Matty to take random fans out of the crowd just to make out with them. There was even a viral video of him asking to see a woman's ID before he kisses her on stage. Some people thought that that was responsible, others thought it was a little creepy, but it's definitely what fans like most about his concerts. And that's another thing about Matty Healy. Not only is he insanely more famous than Joe Alwyn, he's also a lot more controversial. Over the last couple of months, he's constantly been making headlines for outrageous things he's said or done. He once admitted to turning down the chance to open for Ed Sheeran because he tends not to do stuff for money. He also criticized celebrities who host paid meet and greets with their fans and called them effing gross. His concerts are even crazier. A few months ago, someone posted a video of him sucking a fan's fingers during a gig in Brighton. He was also seen eating raw meat on stage while touching himself, so he obviously loves a bit of performance art. Matty was previously in a 3-year relationship with FKA Twigs, which ended in June of 2022. He was also linked to model Charlotte Breyer D'Alessio back in December, but that seemed to be more of a fling than anything else. And he was actually rumored to be dating Taylor Swift way back in 2014, after he was seen performing at one of her concerts. Fans went crazy when he was photographed wearing a 1989 t-shirt, and then Taylor was later seen wearing the 1975 one. But whatever happened with them in the past, they've remained friends over the years and even collaborated on a few songs for Midnights. So it makes sense that they are still close to this day. That doesn't necessarily mean that they are dating, because ever since Taylor and Joe's breakup was announced, there's just been so much speculation about who she's moved on with. Just last week, it was said that she was dating Formula One driver Fernando Alonso. And like many other rumors, this one was started on the Blind Item Instagram account Dumois. For his part, Alonso almost seemed to confirm the gossip. He posted a video of himself on TikTok where he was listening to a sped up version of Taylor's song Karma. He then winks at the camera at the end of the video. So he didn't confirm or deny that anything was happening, but he clearly heard about all the speculation that's been going around. I mean, it's really crazy when you think about how many people Taylor has been linked to now that she's single. So until she makes any announcements herself, it's best that we all just avoid jumping to any conclusions just yet. So now there is real evidence that proves that Taylor Swift and Matty Healy are actually dating. At least that's what it looks like in these newly released photos. The two of them were seen together for the first time since rumors started, sitting next to each other in a car with tinted windows. They were said to have arrived at Taylor's condo at around 12:30 a.m. after her concert in Nashville on Saturday evening. The photos are not very clear, but you can make out the fact that both Taylor and Matty are sitting in the back of the car. He could be seen wearing a bracelet which kind of looked like the exact same one that he wore that evening while he was watching her performance. performance. Since the pictures were posted on Twitter, they have generated some pretty heavy debate. Some fans are certain that the two of them were in the car, and others are not so much. People wrote things like, "What am I even looking at?" and "Stop pretending you guys can see anything." But the fact is that Matty attended her concert for 2 nights in a row. He was seen dancing in the VIP area with Gigi Hadid and Abigail Lauren, who are 2 of Taylor's closest and most trusted friends. He was caught on video intensely focusing on her performance as though he was under some kind of spell. At one point he got really into it and even put his hand over his chest. But of course he could just be enjoying the music like everyone else. Some fans have also suspected that they started mouthing secret messages to each other on stage. Apparently at one point in her Nashville concert, Taylor looked dead at the camera and mouthed the words, "This is about you, you know who you are, I love you." This moment was allegedly connected to something that Matty did during his concert in the Philippines on May the 3rd, where he appeared to say the exact same thing. These 2 clips were then posted on TikTok, and some people are certain that they are actually sending these secret messages to each other. It makes more sense when you think about how private Taylor is with her love life. According to The Sun, the 2 of them were planning to go public with their romance over the weekend, but that never really seemed like something that Taylor would do. Still, it was reported that they are both massively proud and excited about this relationship, and they don't want to hide it away. But with everything that's come out now, literally everyone has an opinion on their relationship. One person tweeted, "I'm not going to unstan Taylor for the whole Matty thing, but she needs to be held accountable for dating someone who is racist, anti-Semitic, misogynistic, fatphobic, and just gross. You are who you associate with. Being the biggest pop star in the world does not give her the right to excuse this behavior." Another person wrote, "If Swifties are concerned about how problematic Matty is and make threads about it, why don't they hold Taylor accountable? Because she's the one who's been friends with and a fan of him for 10 years and supposedly dating him. Critique her for associating. She's not an innocent baby." So there is a lot of tension in the fandom over Matty Healy's problematic behavior. Back in February, the singer caused a firestorm on Twitter for comments he made on the Adam Friedland Show podcast. It was nothing short of a disaster. At one point, the guys joked about a woman's menstrual cycle and made impressions of Chinese accents. Later on, they were discussing the topic of queerbaiting, and somehow Harry Styles got dragged into the conversation. Matty said that Harry gets a pass to do this because it's very popular with young girls. Adam and his co-host Nick Mullen then proceeded to make a ton of homophobic remarks, while Matty just laughed. For instance, they joked that gay men don't care when straight men pretend to be gay because they get off on it. Matty half-heartedly attempted to push back and said, well, maybe it's not all gays, but a lot of them. And just like that, the conversation moved on. He didn't really call any of them out or even question what was being said, but his non-response really said it all. When clips of the podcast went viral, it caused an uproar online. Even fans of the 1975 said that they were disappointed by the entire conversation. And this is just one instance of the questionable things that Matty Healy has said and done. His reputation is not exactly squeaky clean. That's why so many people are uncomfortable with the idea that he might be dating Taylor. Even the fact that she's associated with him has upset some of her fans. Which means if they do end up dating, he will easily be the most controversial partner she's ever had.
The sustainable marketing agency known as Yard is responsible for providing the information of which celebrities took the most private jet flights this year. They provided a top 10, so let's go through them. At number 1, we of course have Taylor Swift, followed by Floyd Mayweather, Jay-Z, A-Rod, Blake Shelton, Steven Spielberg, Kim Kardashian, Mark Wahlberg, Oprah Winfrey, and Kylie's boo Travis Scott barely scraping into the number 10 spot. Kylie herself not actually making the list due to her flights being so short. The list gives us the total flight time, average flight time, estimated carbon emissions, and shortest flight of the year. So let's take a look at Taylor's. And let me note that all of these recordings are only from this year so far. Taylor has a total flight time of almost 30,000 minutes or 16 full days spent in the air, and her shortest flight this year was 36 minutes from Missouri to Nashville. Her average flight time is around 80 minutes and her total carbon emissions over 8,000 tons, which is 1,100 times more than one person's total annual emissions. To contrast, Travis Scott in number 10 has a total of around 3,000. Still a lot, but less than half of T-Swizzle. Due to the firestorm that was suddenly directed at her from the release of this list, her team were quick to try and combat some of the negativity. A spokesperson for her put out a statement saying, "Taylor's jet is loaned out regularly to other individuals. To attribute most or all of these trips to her is blatantly incorrect." So basically what they're saying is that Taylor's jet might be going on all these flights, but she's not always on them. Eve6 even took to making a joke regarding this comment, saying, "I feel bad and need to come clean about something. Taylor Swift has been loaning me her private jet and I've been taking that thing everywhere. To the CVS down the street, quick getaways to Bruges, don't crucify her for being cool to her best friend." Despite this attempt at cooling down the situation, the internet has not lessened up in their criticism of the singer. Various different comments and memes taking over social media in regards to the situation. The most common ones I've seen are usually captioned things like Taylor Swift when she needs to walk to the kitchen, with a video of Taylor in a jet. Other messages on Twitter said things like, "Listen, I also like Taylor Swift's music, but no one should have a private jet. You can have a propeller plane or you can get on a commercial jet. Because frankly, no one should have private jet money." And "Confiscate Taylor Swift's private jet and make her travel across the Atlantic in a dinghy boat if she loves salt air that much." None of the other celebrities on the list have been targeted as harshly as her, and it may be because Taylor Swift was probably an unexpected name to be at the top. At least unexpected to me anyways. Taylor herself doesn't seem to have made any comments toward the situation, so that's all I have for you for now.
Musician Taylor Swift has once again been accused of plagiarism. Now it's true that she's had a pretty long career, which still seems to be going strong, but spending a lot of time in the public eye leaves you open for close analysis and critique. Taylor Swift released her new album titled Lover, and alongside it she also released a book with the same title. A woman named Teresa Ladard is now suing her as she believes the book is a copy of her own same name that she released back in 2010. Years ago, Taylor Swift was also accused of plagiarism for lyrics in her hit song Shake It Off, the case going through courts multiple times, and Swift seemed to be in a good spot in that case. So is it going to be the same thing here, or is Taylor in for some serious trouble? Let's take a look through the current lawsuit as well as the old one and see what people online have to say about the situation. Taylor Swift was first originally sued over her song Shake It Off back in 2017 by songwriters Sean Hall and Nathan Butler. They claimed that she had taken the lyrics from their song in 2001 called Players Gonna Play that was referencing Taylor's use of the lyrics, "Players gonna play, haters gonna hate." Swift seemed to get off easy when the case was initially dismissed a year later in 2018, saying that players and haters are just two commonly used words and phrases for them to be able to prove that Taylor got the influence from their song. But unfortunately, she didn't get away with it as a panel of judges brought back the lawsuit, and a federal judge ruled in 2021 that the case would be going to trial. Just earlier this month, Taylor filed new documents on Monday in regards to the trial. She said that she had never heard Hall and Butler's song before, and the similarities only exist because players gonna play and haters gonna hate are common across culture, saying prior to writing Shake It Off, I had heard the phrases players gonna play and haters gonna hate uttered countless of times to express the idea that one should shrug off negativity. To me at least, it seems pretty clear that the commonalities between the two songs and lyrics are just a coincidence and there was no intentional copying taking place. But let's see if the same could be said for this new lawsuit Taylor is now going to have to deal with. As I mentioned before, Teresa Ladard is the name of the woman who is currently suing Taylor Swift for allegedly copying her original poetry and photo book titled Lovers. She is claiming that Taylor's written addition to her Lover album of the same name is a pretty exact copy, despite being written over a decade later. Teresa claims that her book was widely available and insists that Taylor and her team must have seen it and created a copy to attempt to pass it off as an original work. She says that the concept of what Taylor is doing with the book, a quote, recollection of past years memorialized in a combination of written and pictorial components, is exactly what her book has. She also says that the photos featured on both the cover and the foreword are very similar to her own, and honestly when you put them beside each other it seems fair to come to that conclusion. But pastel colors and even the posing of the photos seems eerily similar. Teresa is asking for over $1 million in damages due to the fact that Taylor's book has sold almost 3 million copies just in the United States. Taking a look at social media, however, fans of Taylor seem to think that the woman's claims of copyright infringement were just laughable, making jokes and rude comments towards the author. Tweets said things like, "That author is literally irrelevant, nobody even knows who she is. She clearly just wants money from Taylor." The Lover album is in no way similar to her book. And I love how everyone keeps suing Taylor for things that so many other people have done, as if Taylor is not going to slay and win. Last week, Taylor Swift dropped her much-awaited 10th studio album called Midnight. Of course, fans have already started coming up with theories about the pop icon's newest record and collecting all of the Easter eggs that Taylor has become so well known for. Every number, every word, every letter of anything included in the album is immediately dissected by fans, and sometimes these theories can get a little out of hand. After only 1 week, Twitter and TikTok are already teeming with ideas about the hidden meanings of the tracks. So what do you think that people have missed? Let's get into it. Number 10, the Lavender Theory. We know that Lavender Haze is the title of the first track on Midnights, and the word lavender is frequently used as a symbol of the queer community. It doesn't help that for years there's been speculation that Taylor is either gay or bisexual and has had secret relationships with women. Not only that, but some people were convinced at least 2 and possibly more songs on the album are about Carly Kloss, the model she became friends with after they met in 2013, until they had a falling out. In the song Maroon, she says, "How'd we end up on the floor anyway? You say your roommate's cheap screw top rosé." Taylor and Carly were reportedly roommates at one point. There was also speculation that the song Question could be about her as well, as one fan theorized that it definitely feels pretty straightforward that she's singing about kissing a girl. In 2014, TMZ reported that the two of them may or may not have kissed at a concert, although that was never fully confirmed. Number 9, John Mayer. People believe that the 19th track from Midnights, called Would've, Could've, Should've, is about Taylor's relationship with her ex John Mayer. She was only 19 years old when she dated the singer, who was 32 at the time. This was way back in the late 2000s, so it might not be a coincidence at all that it's the 19th track on the special edition version of her album. The lyrics give it all away. She says, "I would've stayed on my knees, and damn sure I never would've danced with the devil at 19. And the God's honest truth is that the pain was heaven," which is pretty damning evidence. Although John has yet to publicly respond to the song, he has called out Taylor for her lyrics in the past. Back in 2012, he told Rolling Stone that he was really humiliated by her song called Dear John and expressed his resentment, saying, "I didn't deserve it. I'm pretty good at taking accountability now, and I never did anything to deserve that. It was a really lousy thing for her to do." As for Taylor's reaction, she said, "How presumptuous. I never disclose who my songs are about." Number 8, Secret Lost Album. Taylor recently announced that track 11 on Midnights would be titled Karma, which fits neatly into the Karma theory, which runs as follows. There is a secret unreleased Taylor Swift album titled Karma that was supposed to come out in 2016. This hypothetical album, fans believe, was scrapped following the infamous Kim Exposed Taylor party, when Kim K released excerpts of tapes that appeared to catch Swift in a messy public lie, and the public rapidly turned on her. Fans believe that the Karma song on Midnights will be an unreleased track from the secret scrapped Karma album, and likely a diss track aimed directly at Kanye West as his reputation continues to plummet. Not to mention that in the music video for The Man, the camera pans over a graffitied wall tagged with the titles of Taylor Swift's album and the word Karma, which appears twice on the wall. Next to one of the Karma tags is a sign that says, "Missing. If found, return to Taylor Swift." Number 7, Scooter Braun. Fans believe that one of the many Easter eggs in Taylor's music video for Bejeweled is about her drama with Scooter Braun and Big Machine Records over the rights to her first 6 albums. If you didn't know, Scooter Braun essentially stole Taylor's own music from her and sold the master rights to her first 6 albums in a deal worth $300 million. Since the scandal broke, in Taylor's own words, the public knows him to be an incessant, manipulative bully. In the video, Taylor plays kind of like a Cinderella character alongside her 3 ugly stepsisters, as she can be seen cleaning the floor around them. One Twitter user by the name of Abs wrote, "House wench Taylor has been exiled from her kingdom, aka rights to her masters, by the people who she trusted, aka Scooter Braun and Scott, after being sold a fairy tale. When the sisters leave to go get ready, they say, 'Let's go get our jewels,' and these villains think selling the masters will pay off. However, Taylor has a plan to reclaim them." Number 6, Joe Alwyn. Taylor's song Lavender Haze is filled with feminist symbolism and explores her feelings of being not only a woman in a heteronormative relationship, but also being famous on top of that. In the song, Taylor reveals that she was referring to the never-ending speculation that she and Joe are engaged, secretly married, or planning to have children. She says, "All they keep asking me is if I'm going to be your bride. The only kind of girl they see is one night or a wife." This line is a direct reference to something called the Madonna complex, which describes the patriarchal idea that women can only be one of two stereotypes: pure and chaste maternal figure, or a promiscuous and untrustworthy sex object. In regards to her 6-year relationship with Joe, Taylor has said that they have to ignore weird rumors and tabloid stuff in order to protect the real stuff. I think a lot of people have to deal with this now, not just public figures, because we live in the era of social media. If the world finds out that you're in love with somebody, they're going to weigh in on it. Number 5, the clock theory. Another idea that's taking social media by storm is that the track titles for Midnights could be named after hours in the early morning. One tweet read, "What if the tracks are hours and time? Track 1 is 1 AM and so on. And track 13 is falling asleep and Taylor meeting herself." Fans quickly realized that the artwork to some of her songs on Spotify had been replaced with the animation of a clock ticking towards midnight, and of course everyone is convinced that that's another Easter egg. The numbers on the clock are separated into 5 colors, so this could also correspond to her different album eras. Now, Taylor did reveal that the album is basically the story of 13 sleepless nights that she's had throughout her life. She wrote, "This is a collection of music written in the middle of the night, a journey through terrors and sweet dreams, the floors we pace and the demons we face. For all of us who have tossed and turned and decided to keep the lanterns lit and go searching, hoping that maybe, just maybe, when the clock strikes 12, we'll meet ourselves." Number 4, Kim and Kanye feud. Many are speculating that the track titled Vigilante includes references to Taylor's infamous feuds with Kanye West and his ex Kim Kardashian. 2016 phone call between Taylor and Kanye transfixed the world, when Kim published 3 minutes of it on Snapchat, all to paint Taylor as a liar. In fact, you don't have to be a hardcore fan to know that their beef actually dates back to when Kanye interrupted her at the 2009 MTV VMAs, and it just went downhill from there. In her new song, Taylor sings about revenge and getting even. Others have speculated that she is also referring to Kim and Kanye's messy divorce in 2021. The lyrics go, "Now she gets the house, gets the kids, gets the pride. Picture me thick as thieves with your ex-wife. And she looks so pretty, driving in your Benz. Lately she's been dressing for revenge." It's almost like she's taunting Kanye, because according to TMZ, Kim is actually going to be walking away from their divorce with their $60 million Hidden Hills home. And we all know that Kim drives a Benz. Number 3, Lorde. Another Easter egg is from Antihero, and it's about Taylor's friendship with Lorde and how her fame has negatively affected her personal relationships. Speaking about the song, she said, "I really don't think I've delved this far into my insecurities in this detail before. I struggle with the idea that my life has become unmanageably sized, and I just struggle with the idea of not feeling like a person." In the video, Taylor literally transforms into a giant that will inevitably destroy her surroundings when she has to crawl around inside of a little house. The lyrics go, "Sometimes I feel like everybody is a sexy baby and I'm a monster on the hill, too big to hang out, slowly lurching toward your favorite city." Fans think this is a direct reference to a quote from her friend Lorde, who once compared Taylor's level of fame to an autoimmune disease. She said, "It's like having a friend with very specific allergies. There are certain places you can't go together, certain things you can't do. There are these different sets of considerations within the friendship," which is actually quite sad when you think about it. Number 2, body image. Fans didn't have to dig very deep to realize that Taylor's song Antihero also deals with the theme of self-loathing. Unfortunately, the video was extremely controversial upon its release. The scene that angered some viewers shows Taylor in the bathroom weighing herself on a scale as her inner critic and alter ego looks on. A close-up of the scale shows the word fat written on it instead of a number, and then she shakes her head in disappointment. The new version of the video no longer cuts to that word, a moment that some body positivity advocates said reinforced negative connotations with the word fat. When the song first dropped, Taylor tweeted, "Watch my nightmare scenarios and intrusive thoughts play out in real time." The singer has been open in the past about her struggles with body image and that she's had an eating disorder. In her Netflix documentary Miss America, she admits that unflattering pictures and unkind comments about her figure would sometimes trigger her to starve a little bit and just stop eating altogether. And coming in at number 1, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. We know that Taylor revealed the name of Blake and Ryan's 3rd child, Betty, in a song of the same name, which was featured on her 8th album, Folklore. And now fans are theorizing that Taylor has secretly revealed what her friend's 4th child will be called. The couple does have another baby on the way, who fans now think is set to be named Daisy May. A lyric in Taylor's new track titled You're On Your Own Kid actually includes a reference to someone named Daisy May. The lyrics go, "I see the great escape, so long Daisy May. I pick the petals, he loves me not, something different fragrant bloomed, writing in my room, I play my songs in the parking lot, I'll run away. One Twitter user wrote, calling it now, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' baby is going to be named Daisy May, #Midnight's Taylor Swift. And another one said, I love coming to Twitter to confirm things like, yes, other people also think that Daisy May is the name of Blake Lively's baby, #Midnight's Taylor Swift. So yeah, it's entirely possible that Taylor has already dropped the baby's name. Fans think Taylor Swift may have gotten a boob job after her recent MTV EMA appearance. The singer had a hugely successful night and walked away with 4 awards, including Best Artist, Best Video, and Best Long Form Video. But as she took to the red carpet and the MTV EMA stage, fans noticed something different about her appearance, and as usual, they were not able to stay quiet. They have since started speculating that Taylor may have undergone breast augmentation surgery and have even been sharing before and after photos to support their claims. Some even pointed to her appearance on the 2019 Golden Globe Awards, where she looked more full-chested than usual while wearing a figure-hugging dress. But all of this is nothing new. In fact, these rumors have been circulating on the internet for years, and Taylor has never addressed them for a reason. Not only does she not owe anyone an explanation for the way her body looks, some people have always found it hard to accept that celebrities are real people, and just like real people, they are bound to change as they get older. A lot of people seem to forget that Taylor was only 19 years old when she first entered the public eye with her hit song Love Story, so it would be unreasonable to expect her to look exactly the same at 32, even if she's only changed slightly. In fact, there are countless other reasons aside from surgery that would cause a woman's breast size to change. Menstrual cycles can have an effect to some degree, but there could also be a simpler explanation. The MTV EMAs are a fancy event, so Taylor probably had a team of stylists and hair and makeup people getting her ready for that. And those people know things like how well-placed padding in the bra can make everything look fuller, or the fact that stylists often tape breasts upwards and help them sit higher on the chest to appear more prominent. So the fans who accused her of getting a boob job in the first place should consider themselves to be a part of the problem instead. If they were real fans of Taylor Swift, they would know how many times that she's spoken out against body shaming and the harm that it's done to her. In her 2020 documentary Miss Americana, she addressed the eating disorder issues that she's developed as a result of such criticism. She said there have been times in the past when she's seen a picture of herself where she feels her tummy was too big, and that moment will trigger her to stop eating. She said, if you're thin enough, then you don't have that ass that everybody wants, but if you have enough weight on you to have an ass, your stomach isn't flat enough. It's all just effing impossible. She added that the eating disorder affected her on the 1989 tour, saying, I thought I was supposed to feel like I was going to pass out at the end of the show, or in the middle of it. Now I realize, no, if you eat food, have energy, get stronger, you can do all these shows and not feel enervated. It was also being featured on the cover of magazines that made Taylor obsess over her appearance when she was a teenager, and that had a very damaging effect on her. She said, I remember how when I was 18, that was the first time I was on the cover of a magazine, and the headline was like, pregnant at 18, and it was because I had worn something that day that made my lower stomach look not flat, so I just registered that as a punishment. The singer also spoke about how difficult it was to admit that her own eating habits were disordered. Quote, you don't ever say to yourself, I've got an eating disorder, but you know you're making a list of everything you put in your mouth that day, and you know that's probably not right. But then again, there's so many diet blogs that tell you that's what everyone should do. Then when she released her song Anti-Hero last month, she copped a whole bunch of backlash for even suggesting that she also struggles with her body image. She made it very clear that the track deals with the theme of self-loathing, and said that it was all about her nightmare scenarios and intrusive thoughts. But sadly, it was the music video that gained the most controversy. The scene that angered viewers shows Taylor in the bathroom weighing herself on a scale as her inner critic and her alter ego looks on. A close-up of the scale shows the word fat written on it instead of a number, and then she shakes her head in disappointment. The clip was immediately picked up by some body positive advocates who felt that it was fat-phobic and reinforced negative connotations surrounding the word fat. As a result, the video was taken down, and that specific scene was edited out. From that point on, there was a big debate over whether or not Taylor expressing her struggles with body image was considered valid because she was speaking from her own personal experience, or a part of the problem because she's only adding to the narrative that being fat is something that everyone should be terrified of. This Taylor Swift Ticketmaster incident is like a car crash. It's so bad that at the same time you just can't bring yourself to look away. Her fans were left outraged after waiting hours and shelling out thousands of dollars just for a shot at getting tickets to her concert. Some of them even took the day off work just to book tickets, only for the whole website to crash. Now they've banded together and made enough noise to bring about an an antitrust investigation into Ticketmaster. The website was in shambles during what became a disastrous pre-sale for Taylor's upcoming tour called The Eras. Essentially, millions of fans tried to get their hands on a ticket when the website crashed and they were left devastated. Fans reported waiting in online queues for up to 8 hours, and many finding that they were too late to purchase tickets. And the explanation from Ticketmaster only made things so much worse for them. They said in a statement that there was a historically unprecedented demand for tickets. Potential buyers have also come out saying that they experienced a severe lack of customer support, while others said Ticketmaster straight up told them to wait 5 days for a response. And now with the glitches in the process, resale sites like StubHub are already offering tickets for as much as $18,000. Ironically, the company says the pre-sale system is intended to help prevent ticket touts, known as scalpers in the US, so a person who resells tickets to make a large profit. It's also supposed to prevent bots from scooping up seats, but obviously all of that fell through when the website froze. A Ticketmaster spokesperson said the number of people who registered for the early sale was more than twice the number of tickets available, and that millions of others also jumped online to buy. Let's get real, they clearly would have been well prepared for the amount of Swifties wanting to buy tickets to her first tour in 5 years. The 52-city US tour will be the biggest ever for the singer, who burst onto the scene in 2006 and has been dropping hits ever since. Her latest album, Midnights, has topped the charts around the world. So in response to the huge demand from fans, she ended up adding 25 shows to her tour. But even though Taylor has historically not been afraid to pick fights with corporate giants, so far she has been staying silent on the Ticketmaster disaster. Many have pointed out that the company simply does not care about pissing off fans. Because the truth is, if you want to see a concert from a big musician, there's really no avoiding Ticketmaster, because they have a monopoly on the whole industry. But Tennessee's Attorney General Jonathan Skremecki thinks that it might be a crime, and he is launching a consumer protection investigation into them. He says he's concerned that the company lacks competition, and with that, customers are left with sky-high prices and a poor experience. He also questioned Ticketmaster's lack of preparation and said that given the company's size, they should really have been ready for the unprecedented demand from Taylor's fans. And with that, it looks like the dominoes started falling. Congressman David Cicilline wrote, "Ticketmaster's excessive wait times and fees are completely unacceptable, as seen with today's Taylor Swift tickets, and are a symptom of a larger problem. It's no secret that Live Nation Ticketmaster is an unchecked monopoly." Ilhan Omar tweeted, "Break up Ticketmaster," and Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez also slammed the company, writing, "Daily reminder that Ticketmaster is a monopoly. Its merger with Live Nation should never have been approved, and they need to be reined in. Break them up." And let's not forget when John Oliver described Ticketmaster as one of the most hated companies on earth, and he called out its high prices and scarce availability on his late night show. The monopolistic approach that the company has undertaken on its ruthless journey to dominance has caused endless controversy. But the funny thing is that both artists and fans have been having beef with Ticketmaster for decades. Many have tried to take them down, but to no avail. Just like Pearl Jam discovered the hard way in 1994. That was the year they went to war with Ticketmaster. The issue stemmed from an argument over booking fees, as they didn't agree with the company's insanely high prices. They wanted to put their principles ahead of payday, so they decided to tour without using Ticketmaster at all. But eventually they found it way too difficult and returned to the service after only 14 months. Unfortunately, the corporate giant has only grown since then. In 2010, they purchased a company called Live Nation, which runs a ton of event venues and even has an artist management business. So basically, anytime they had any kind of competition, they would just buy it out, which is why they literally have no rivals to this day. But all that power clearly hasn't gone unnoticed, and Ticketmaster has been subject to government monitoring for a while now. So far, several US Democratic lawmakers have been calling for the merger to be reversed, and even President Joe Biden announced that he will be cracking down on their outrageous processing fees. If your favorite artist tour was sold out but you desperately wanted to see them, how much would you be willing to pay to get a ticket? Couple of hundreds or thousands? One very disappointed Taylor Swift fan named Paige spoke to Business Insider and admitted that she was left embarrassed after she paid $5,500 for 2 resale tickets, and now she says that she regrets buying them. Paige, who says that she's been a Taylor Swift fan for around 15 years, ended up getting stuck in the queue for over 3 hours at Ticketmaster. While she was waiting, she went to StubHub to see if there were any tickets available from resellers. She then ended up buying 2 floor seats priced under $2,000 each, but with fees and taxes, the total came up to just over $5,500. She said, "I feel guilty. I feel like I did something impulsive in panic mode, and I am disappointed in Ticketmaster and Live Nation for letting it get to this point of just being a complete frenzy. I felt nauseous that I spent so much." She went on to say, "I feel like it's a dirty ticket, like in the same way getting something in the wrong way would feel bad. It's the same with this. I'm embarrassed I did it and I regret it." If you've been on the internet recently, then you'll have probably heard about the Ticketmaster disaster that happened with the Taylor Swift's The Eras Tour pre-sale. Basically, over 3.5 million people registered to get a pre-sale code from Ticketmaster's verified fan system, but only 1.5 million fans were sent codes to access the pre-sale. The company then said that due to bot attacks as well as fans who didn't have codes, they reported that 3.5 billion total system requests were recorded during that pre-sale. As a result, fans were stuck for hours and the website itself was frozen or just kept crashing. At the end, 2.4 million tickets were sold during the pre-sale alone. Ticketmaster then later cancelled the general sale due to what they called insufficient remaining ticket inventory to meet that demand. They then tried to defend themselves and released a statement saying all 2 million tickets for the verified fan on sale were sold to verified fans. Only ticket buyers who were verified were permitted to enter a queue. Essentially, the verified fan system is meant to ensure that fans get their hands on tickets before bots and resellers do. But shortly after the pre-sale, tickets began popping up on resale websites for ridiculous amounts of money. Some were even as high as $33,000. In fact, so many of these tickets have now been priced at tens of thousands of dollars. For the show at the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, they're listed for as much as $21,600 on StubHub. That price will get fans a spot on the floor in front of the stage. As for just getting into the stadium, that'll cost you at least $350 more. Other dates on Taylor's 52-show tour are commanding insane amounts of money too. Floor seats for the tour's opening night in Glendale, Arizona are going for as much as $17,000, while floor tickets for her show in Atlanta are listed for as much as $35,400. It's safe to say that fans are furious, and even Taylor Swift herself is upset. In a statement posted to her Instagram story, she says that she's trying to figure out how the situation can be improved moving forward, but that she's not going to make excuses for anyone. She said, "It really pisses me off what people had to go through to get tickets." She also thanked fans for wanting to come to her shows, saying that they have no idea how much that means. She said she's happy that 2.4 million people did get tickets, but sorry that many of them feel like they went through several bear attacks to get them. Overall, she made it clear that she is pretty unhappy with how everything went down, and how it's hard for her to trust an external company like Ticketmaster. It also sounds like she knew the company might have had issues with her tour ahead of time, because according to her statement, her team asked them multiple times if their website could handle the traffic, and they were reassured that it could. But it seems like the government doesn't trust them either. Ever since their controversial merger with Live Nation, Ticketmaster has been subject to government monitoring, and several US Democratic lawmakers have been calling for the merger to be reversed. Just this week, the US Department of Justice announced that it would be launching an antitrust investigation into the company to determine whether or not it has misused its power over the multi-billion-dollar live music industry. Aside from the recent Taylor Swift fiasco, most concert goers know that there's really no avoiding Ticketmaster when they want to go and see their favorite artists. And that's all thanks to a web of exclusivity contracts with artists and venues. I mean, usually a company doesn't just go around upsetting its customers with website crashes and absurd ticket pricing and fees, because their customer loyalty should matter to most corporations. But Ticketmaster's marketplace dominance allows it to continue on, even if it's delivering a horrific experience, because they literally have zero competition. What do you think was Taylor Swift's biggest controversy? The country singer turned pop star has managed to forge a wildly successful career in the music industry. Then, when her popularity reached its peak around 2016, it suddenly became popular to hate on her, which is sadly the case with many female artists. But to be fair, when you reach that level of success, there's also bound to be quite a few scandals following you. Over the years, Taylor's been involved in major celebrity feuds, legal battles, and accusations of copying other musicians. She's also been cancelled more times than you can count. So let's get into it. Here are the top 10 biggest Taylor Swift controversies you forgot about. Number 10, private jet use. In the summer of 2022, Taylor was one of several celebrities who were called out for their private jet usage, which can contribute to an excess of CO2 emissions and harm the environment. A study from the marketing firm Yard named her as the #1 offender, alleging that her shortest recorded flight of 2022 was just 36 minutes, when she was flying from Missouri to Nashville. Apparently, her jet has flown 170 times this year, and the flights have amassed a total of 8,200 tons of CO2 CO2 emissions. For context, that is thousands of times more than the average person's total annual emissions. A rep for the singer hit back at the report and released a statement saying Taylor's jet is loaned out regularly to other individuals. To attribute most or all of these trips to her is blatantly incorrect. But even so, her fans were not happy. One viral tweet said, Taylor Swift saying she wants to run away to the lakes and live out the rest of her life surrounded by nature, and then being responsible for 8,923 tons of carbon emissions is so unserious. Number 9. Fat phobia. Last month, when the music video to her new song Anti-Hero was released, Taylor copped a whole lot of backlash for including one specific scene. The moment that angered viewers shows Taylor in the bathroom weighing herself on a scale as her inner critic and alter ego looks on. A close-up of the scale shows the word fat written on it instead of a number, and then she shakes her head in disappointment. The clip was immediately picked up by some body positivity advocates who felt that it was fat-phobic and reinforced negative connotations surrounding the word fat. As a result, the video was taken down and that specific scene had to be edited out. From that point on, there was a big debate over whether or not Taylor expressing her struggles with body image was considered valid because she was speaking from her own personal experience, or if she was part of the problem because she was only adding to the narrative that being fat is something that everyone should be terrified of. Number 8. Katy Perry feud. This legendary feud was said to have started in 2013 amid rumors that Katy tried to sabotage Taylor's tour by stealing some of her backup dancers. In September of 2014, Taylor gave an explosive interview calling her out for this. She said, "For years I was never sure if we were friends or not. She would come up to me at award shows and say something and walk away, and I would think, are we friends, or did she just give me the harshest insult of my life?" Taylor went on to say, "It wasn't even about a guy, it had to do with business. She basically tried to sabotage an entire arena tour. She tried to hire a bunch of people out from under me, and I'm surprisingly non-confrontational. You would not believe how much I hate conflict, so now I have to avoid her. It's awkward and I don't like it." She also called Katy competitive. In response, Katy tweeted, "Watch out for the Regina George in sheep's clothing." Then Taylor released her song Bad Blood and the drama just kept escalating. But thankfully they were eventually able to bury the hatchet somewhere around 2017, and they've been on good terms ever since. Number 7. The leaked phone call. Kanye West released a song called Famous in 2016, which was met with extreme backlash. In the song, he name drops Taylor Swift and says, "I made that B famous." Taylor then clapped back at the 2016 Grammys and said, "There are going to be people along the way who are going to try and undercut your success or take credit for your accomplishments or your fame." Then Kim Kardashian came to Kanye's defense and leaked a recording of Taylor agreeing to the lyrics over the phone when Kanye had called her from the studio. This caused a massive scandal to erupt, and fans called Taylor a snake for seemingly lying that she never consented to him using those lyrics. But it wasn't until 4 years later that the full phone call made the rounds on social media that finally exonerated Taylor of any wrongdoing. During the call, you can hear Kanye reassure her that the lyrics about her won't be mean, but he conveniently leaves out the fact that he's going to call her the B word in the song. So in the end, it was revealed that Taylor was telling the truth. Number 6. The Ticketmaster disaster. If you've been on the internet recently, then you'll have probably heard about the Ticketmaster disaster that's happened with the Taylor Swift's The Eras Tour pre-sale. Basically, over 3.5 million people registered to get a pre-sale code from Ticketmaster's verified fan system, but only 1.5 million fans were sent codes to access the pre-sale. The company then said that due to bot attacks as well as fans who just didn't have codes, they reported that 3.5 billion total system requests were recorded. As a result, fans were stuck for hours in a queue, and the website itself was frozen or kept crashing at the checkout. In the end, 2.4 million tickets were sold during the pre-sale. Ticketmaster then cancelled the general sale due to what they call insufficient remaining ticket inventory to meet the demand. Essentially, the verified fan system is meant to ensure that fans get their hands on tickets before bots and resellers do. But shortly after the pre-sale, tickets began popping up on ticket resale websites for ridiculous amounts of money. Number 5. Called out by John Mayer. Although Taylor hasn't been very forthcoming about the inspiration behind her songs, some of her exes have fired back and said that they don't appreciate being her source material. John Mayer infamously told Rolling Stone that he was humiliated by Taylor's 2010 song Dear John. He said, "It made me feel terrible because I didn't deserve it. It was a really lousy thing for her to do. I never got an email, I never got a phone call. I was really caught off guard." He went on to say, "I think it's that kind of cheap songwriting. I know she's the biggest thing in the world and I'm not trying to sink anybody's ship, but I think it's misusing your talent to rub your hands together and go, wait till he gets a load of this. That's BS." Taylor then shot back and said that he was being presumptuous about the song's inspiration. But then another one of her exes, Joe Jonas, also came forward criticizing her for singing about their breakup, which was apparently a 27-second phone call. They eventually made up though, and Taylor even apologized to him. Number 4, the Shake It Off lawsuit. In 2017, Taylor was sued by songwriters Sean Hall and Nathan Butler, who claimed that she had taken the lyrics from their song in 2001 called Players Gonna Play. They were referencing her use of the lyrics in Shake It Off, where she's saying players gonna play and haters gonna hate. At first it seemed like she was gonna get off easy because the case was initially dismissed in 2018, after a judge said that the lyrics were not original enough for them to claim that it was stolen, because the words players and haters are just way too commonly used for them to be able to prove that Taylor got the influence from their song. But in 2021, a panel of judges brought back the lawsuit, and a federal judge ruled that the case would be going to trial. In a last-ditch effort to avoid going to trial, Taylor filed documents saying, prior to writing Shake It Off, I had heard the phrases players gonna play and haters gonna hate uttered countless of times to express the idea that one should shrug off negativity. But the singer's motion was denied, and the trial is set to go ahead in January next year. Number 3, the 2009 VMAs. More than a decade ago, there came a VMA moment that will live forever in infamy. It was a moment in which Kanye West stormed the VMA stage as Taylor attempted to accept her award for Best Video by a female artist. He declared Beyonce was the rightful recipient of the Video of the Year award and said, "Yo, Taylor, I'm really happy for you and I'ma let you finish, but Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time." It seemed like a harmless stunt, but the resulting fallout from that moment was explosive. That event really made history, and it solidified the narrative that Kanye was something of a villain, and Taylor of course was the victim, considering that she was only 19 at the time, and apparently she cried backstage after the incident, before she then had to go back on and perform. The moment not only became the face of 1,000 memes, but it ignited one of the biggest celebrity feuds of the 2010s. Number 2, exposing Scooter Braun. From 2006 to 2017, Taylor released 6 studio albums under the label Big Machine. When her contract was coming to an end in 2018, her lawyers proposed that her masters be sold back to her, but Scooter Braun would only agree to that if she signed another 10-year contract with them. An agreement was never reached, and Taylor called out Big Machine executives Scooter Braun and Scott Borchetta in a scathing social media post that said, "For years I asked, pleaded for a chance to own my work. Instead, I was given an opportunity to sign back up to Big Machine Records and earn one album back at a time, one for every new one that I turned in. I learned about Scooter Braun's purchase of my masters as it was announced to the world. All I could think about was the incessant manipulative bullying I've received at his hands for years." She even accused him of preventing her from performing her older songs at the 2019 AMAs. In the end, she never backed down, and she decided to re-record her earlier albums so she could own those masters. And coming in at number 1, the Folklore logo. Yet another scandal erupted when small business owner Amira Rasool called out Taylor for allegedly copying her design on the merch associated with her 2020 album Folklore. She posted on social media saying, "I am not going to let this blatant theft go unchecked." At the time, Taylor's rep responded to the allegations that the design ripped off her work. They said, "Yesterday we were made aware of a complaint that the specific use of the word the before Folklore album on some of the Folklore album merchandise was of concern. Absolutely no merchandise using the before the words Folklore album has been manufactured or sent out. In good faith, we honored her request and immediately notified everyone who had ordered her merchandise with the word the preceding the Folklore album that they will now receive their order with the design change." Amira said that she was grateful for the switch, and she tweeted, "I commend Taylor's team for recognizing the damage the merchandise caused to my company, the Folklore's brand." So at least this one resolved itself.
With some devastating rumors for Swifties circulating around Taylor and Joe, we have to think about the red flags that we most likely missed. Number 10, the breakup. The rumors are out, and it looks like Taylor and Joe have called it quits on their 6-year relationship. This has clearly left fans devastated and wondering if this could be true. A source close to Taylor confirmed the news to the press and said, "Taylor and Joe broke up a few weeks ago. They simply grew apart and plan to remain friends." This left fans completely confused, and many believe the couple are soulmates. Taylor even said when referring to her song Lavender Haze, "Like my relationship for 6 years, we've had to dodge weird rumors, tabloid stuff, and we usually just ignore it. This song is a story about how the act of ignoring that stuff to protect the real stuff." In an Instagram video posted in October before her album release, Midnights, she shared that she learned the term lavender haze from Mad Men. I guess theoretically, when you're in lavender haze, you'll do anything to stay there and not let people bring you down off of that cloud. Entertainment Tonight first reported the breakup on Saturday and claimed that the couple actually ended things a few weeks ago. A source claims the breakup was not dramatic, going on to say the relationship had just run its course. This hasn't stopped fans from speculating what the true reason for the breakup is though. Fans began believing that their split could be from the lyrics on her album Folklore, and this could be long time coming, with some speculating that the two could be on the rocks since back in 2020. Where her album Lovers was packed with more upbeat pop songs, Folklore was something different altogether. One fan wrote at the time, "Did Taylor and Joe break up? These songs are giving me strong breakup vibes." Listeners definitely had some questions when they listened to her song Exile, which is about two exes reflecting on their failed relationship. Taylor sings in it, "I'm not your problem anymore, so who am I offending now? I think I've seen this film before and I'm leaving out the side door." Taylor has since revealed her creative process behind Folklore though. She tweeted at the time, "In isolation, my imagination has run wild, and this album is the result. I've told these stories to the best of my ability with all the love, wonder, and whimsy that they deserve." Regardless of her admitting these stories are from her imagination, it hasn't stopped fans from believing there could be a few possible more problems in her relationship from earlier on. Number 9, secretive. This couple has been very secretive ever since they reportedly met at the Met Gala in 2016. It was speculated that for Taylor, it was love at first sight based on her lyrics from her 2017 song, Dress. A few months after reportedly meeting, Taylor attended a Kings of Leon show with her friends, which Joe also attended. When rumors started circulating the couple was together back in 2017, a source claimed that this wasn't new news, revealing that the two had been together for months before that. They said at the time, "This isn't a new couple alert or a secret relationship. The only people this has been a secret to is the media because of all of that, us." They continued by saying, "Taylor and Joe's closest friends and their families were aware that they had been together for several months and had known each other for a long time before." Joe first spoke about Taylor during an interview with British Vogue in 2018. He said, "I'm aware people want to know the side of things, but I think we've been successfully very private and that is now sunk in for people. But I really prefer to talk about work." Over the years of their relationship together, they have refused to talk openly about their relationship, but have had multiple appearances together. Taylor shared why she doesn't like to discuss her relationship with Joe openly during an interview with Elle. She said at the time, "I've learned that if I talk about my relationship, people think it's up for discussion, and our relationship isn't up for discussion." She continued by sharing, "If you and I were having a glass of wine right now, we'd be talking about it. But it's just that it goes out into the world, and that's where the boundary is, and that's where my life has become manageable. But since this relationship has been kept under wraps, do you think there could be a few more problems that they wouldn't like to admit behind the scenes?" Number 8, we have the Grammys. Taylor and Joe have never walked a red carpet together, and the 2023 Grammys were no exception. Even with Taylor's 4 nominations, she walked down the red carpet alone. Joe only ended up giving his long-term girlfriend a subtle shout-out when he shared a photo of the singer's cat Meredith, but that was really about it. Joe said back in 2022, "It's not really because I want to be guarded and private, it's a response to something else. We live in a culture that's so increasingly intrusive. The more you give, even if you don't give it, something will be taken." This is especially strange though, considering Joe hasn't even been to the Grammys yet, even opting out of the event when he won part of the writing team for Folklore. Others have wondered if maybe Joe just doesn't handle living in Taylor's level of fame, especially at an event like this, considering he's a more lower profile actor. When asked about this in an interview, he responded by saying, "It's not something I think about, unless I'm in a situation like this and someone says, 'What's it like?' and then I have to think about what to say about it." I really do think it would be something that's very hard to ignore though, especially dating someone with such a large fan base. Number 7, Karlie Kloss. If you're a true Swiftie, I'm sure you know about the Karlie Kloss rumors. These two have had a rumored romantic relationship for ages, as well as fans speculating about Taylor's sexuality. Taylor is the queen of Easter eggs in her songs, and many think she could be hinting that there is something a little bit more going on with her friendship with Karlie. The two became friends back in 2013 when they met backstage at the Victoria's Secret fashion show. But after not being photographed together since 2018, fans have speculated that the two had a falling out. But could the two have maybe been something more? Could there be some jealousy when Joe stepped into the picture? Karlie and Taylor were lovingly named Kaylor back in 2014 when they were constantly being photographed and deemed inseparable. But after Taylor didn't attend Karlie's wedding in 2018 and Karlie didn't go to Taylor's birthday party that same year, people knew something was up. More recently though, with Folklore coming out, fans began digging into the true meaning behind these songs. Her song Illicit Affairs, Seven, and Betty were believed to be a message to fans that she could maybe be hiding some secret feelings. Fans took to Twitter at the time with one user writing, "Taylor Swift and Karlie Kloss have been dating for 7 years, you can't convince me otherwise. And this is just more proof." Swifties lost their mind after Karlie posted a nearly identical photo to Taylor's album cover, writing "My Happy Place." There are even entire websites dedicated to these theories regarding the two stars. Taylor has shared a few things regarding this album though, and has said a few few words about it in her Instagram. She wrote, "Folklore is a collection of songs and stories that flowed like a stream of consciousness. Not only my own stories, but also writing from the perspective of people I've never met, people I've known, and those I wish I hadn't." Continuing on, she wrote, "The lines between fantasy and reality blur, and the boundaries between truth and fiction almost become indiscernible. Speculation over time becomes fact." What do you guys think? Could there have been something more to this relationship? Number 6, the rejected proposal. Though Taylor has revealed that her songs are mostly fiction that is based on her personal life, it's hard to not think that Champagne Problems from her album Evermore isn't about Joe. Champagne Problems is focused on a proposal, but the song doesn't end with the woman saying yes. Could this actually be with the reality of what happened? In her note on Evermore, Taylor talked about her song Champagne Problems, writing, "It's the one where longtime college sweethearts had a very different plan for the same night, one to end it and one who brought a ring." Even though she of course has never said the song was about Joe at all, her performance recently may be evidence enough. In a recent viral TikTok video with more than 3.4 million views, it shows Taylor looking like she's crying while singing the song. One user took to Twitter and wrote, "Is this why she was crying during Champagne Problems, because they broke up?" As Taylor continues her Eras tour, I'm sure we're gonna see more Easter eggs being dropped. Number 5, Midnight Rain. Could Taylor's song Midnight Rain be another look into her very private relationship? This song is about leaving behind a comfort of a healthy relationship to avoid settling. The lyrics make fans believe she's discussing her relationship with the lyrics, "He wanted it comfortable, I wanted that pain. He wanted a bride, I was making my own name. Chasing that fame, he stayed the same." Singing about a partner that was maybe just a little too perfect for her. There have been many theories as to who this song could be about, with some suggesting that it's dedicated to her ex, Tom Hiddleston, or Taylor Lautner, or even Karlie Kloss. But since the breakup rumors have come out, some now believe this song is for Joe. One fan wrote on Twitter, "Okay, now I'm wondering if Midnight Rain is really about Joe instead of Tom." Another added the recent news, "So Midnight Rain was really about Joe this whole time," followed by some frowning emojis. If this is true, fans are looking to be pretty devastated. Number 4, the set list. Looked like Taylor might actually be hinting at the breakup during her Eras tour by changing up the set list. Very last minute. Taylor ended up swapping out her song Invisible String, which appears to be about how fate brought her and Joe together. She switched it with the song The One. This has led fans to speculate that she did this to reflect what was going on in her personal life. Some of the lyrics in The One include, "If my wishes came true, it would have been you," and "You were the greatest loves of all time are over now." One fan wrote on Twitter, "Guys, if she changed Invisible String to The One because of the breakup, I do have to admit this one is a pretty clear hint to fans." One disappointed fan posted on TikTok their feelings over the breakup and the Easter eggs from Taylor, writing, "This was not the Easter egg I was hoping for this weekend. I can't imagine Joe is loving all the attention that Taylor's famous Easter eggs are bringing to the breakup." Number 3, never seen together. These two have always gone to extreme lengths in order to keep their private life private. A source even told The Sun that the singer flew to see Joe in London via private jet, and her security has made it a military-like mission to prevent her from being seen. Even sharing, "She's been walking around with Joe in London using disguises like scarves and hats to keep her identity under wraps." But why no photos, and why are they rarely seen out together at all? A source close to the star told the press, "Joe doesn't like attention or have any interest in being a celebrity." Taylor reportedly feared making the same past mistakes with Joe and is willing to go through these lengths in order to maintain their privacy. A Taylor insider told Hollywood Life, "She has been insanely private with Joe. She wanted to get to know him without all the chaos. She is terrified of making the same mistakes with her relationship with Joe. She is doing everything she can to protect her love life." All the secrecy could possibly have taken a toll on the couple, especially as Joe isn't really a fan of the Hollywood life anyways. Number 2, rumors. The couple's relationship has suffered through many rumors over the years, but could this one be the final straw? Through major publications are sharing that the two have broken up, it could just be a split, or it could just possibly be another rumor. The couple has desperately tried to hide from these rumors over the years, but with Taylor being such a huge name, this is nearly impossible. A few fans have begun speculating that the two could maybe just be going through a little bit of separation, considering their very busy schedules. There's been no response from either Joe or Taylor, which is just leading the media even more into a frenzy. The biggest evidence to support this theory is in her recent release of her song All the Girls You Loved Before, which is a romantic song which many believe has to be about Joe. A few Swifties have taken their theories to the comment section, with one writing, "According to these news articles, they broke up weeks ago, but this this song was also released by them. There's no way they broke up. Another added, am I the only one who finds the release timing of this song weird, considering what just happened? So, could this just be a rumor, or a break for some space, or is this the end of an era? Number 1, the concerts. This was a big sign that trouble was brewing between the stars. The two seemed to be completely fine, as just this past fall, they were seen in New York City and even on vacation to the Bahamas last summer, which was reportedly full of PDA. But as Taylor continues her Eras tour, Joe has been nowhere to be seen at any of her recent concerts. Even though they reportedly vowed to remain friends, could there be a bit more tension between them than sources would like us to believe? But maybe for Joe, it's good to not attend, considering it's looking like Taylor is really channeling her feelings into her music. And we all know how much he hates the spotlight. Well, that's all we have for you guys today. Let us know in the comments below what you think of the recent news, and we'll see you in the next one.